Hi, Gerhard Bloom, looking at the tyranny and the delusions of the social justice movement. So, yep, another major corporation showing complete disdain for its audience. In this case, country music television has canceled, although they don't believe in canceling people or ideas or suppressing free speech, except they do. In this case, they canceled Try That in a Small Town. Well, it has propelled that particular patriotic song into the #1 spot. And I hope the audience of country music television will cancel country music television. Absolutely shameful. And we are told by these racist, anti-racists that, oh, don't you know, it was shot in front of a building that in 1927 there was a lynching. Yes, but it was famous. I never heard of it, and I'm a pretty smart guy, not in math. But lots of history, never heard of this particular lynching. And this is me condemning lynching. I hereby condemn lynching. Racist lynching is awful. It's a deplorable fact. I condemn it. But certainly the song doesn't glorify it. No, this song is speaking out against the absolute riotous chaos disaster that were the BLM riots, and plenty of white folks in that crowd, like those Antifa thugs that got shot by Kyle Rittenhouse, and deservedly so. Undoubtedly this is the case. Do you think good old boys in small town USA are going to stand by as their buildings are destroyed, people murdered, beaten to death in the streets? Absolutely not. These good old boys, they're God-fearing and American-loving. No. And there were some deluded leftists say about these riots, how they helped the black community. This is utter nonsense. Thomas Sowell crunched the numbers looking at the riots from the 1960s in large American cities. They pulled the American black community's economic outcomes back by decades. Businesses closed up and moved. Grocery stores moved away. Yes, you have the phenomenon of food deserts because grocery stores got burned down. Do you remember the LA riots where the blacks in the inner city were attacking those Korean-owned grocery stores? They're overpricing us. They're gouging us. Thomas Sowell, once again, crunched the numbers. These stores, yes, their costs to the customer were higher because the costs to the store owners were higher. The profit margins in these Korean-owned grocery stores were smaller. Yes, they charge higher prices, but the profits were smaller. Why? Because there's more theft in the inner city black community. That is right. Grocery stores, that's a fact. I was talking to a friend of mine here. Their friend, in turn, had a small grocery store, Asian-owned grocery store, had to close it. The items were being just completely robbed off the shelf. This was in Toronto, in the black inner city here. And insurance costs in the black inner city are higher. So yes, you've got a little old black lady who needs to take 2 or 3 buses to buy groceries. This is because of the rioting and the lawlessness. So no, good old boys in small town USAs are not going to put up with this nonsense, nor should they. The BLM riots, about 24 people were killed, billions of dollars worth of damages, and for what? I've seen videos of black people, honest, hardworking black people, asking, why is it that these middle-class white kids come into my neighborhood and tear it down, and they walk away like they're some kind of effing hero? They're not. So plenty of white folks involved, and those Antifa thugs and anti-fascists. Give me a break. They're fascists. You beat people up in the street. You tear down buildings, and exactly like Hitler's brown shirts in pre-Nazi Germany, right? As Nazis come into power, these brown-shirted thugs beating people up in the streets. Utter nonsense. And I don't believe they're anti-fascists at all. Well, they're not, clearly. But I don't even think they believe it. These guys are nihilists. All they believe in is tearing shit down, destroying things. Awful. Anyways, I think there's country music television. I think it needs kicking the metaphorical junk, just like the mouse got kicked in the junk at Disney and Target with those tuck-friendly underwear. Awful. Anyways, please do check out my book, Deconstructing Social Justice. It's available on Amazon. It's not important because I wrote it. I wrote it because the issues could not be more important. And I'll walk you through the poisonous logic of this postmodernism fused with cultural Marxism. Thank you so much for your time and attention now. Bye-bye.